Hola, el día de hoy voy a leer en inglés. Pues para quien no sepa, no sé pronunciar muy bien en inglés. Y pues vamos a hacerlo. Ok, China Western Horizon. Beijing and the new geopolitics of Eurasia. China Western Horizon. Este es de Daniel S. Markey. Es un libro del 2020. Y pues es sobre Beijing and the new geopolitics of Eurasia. Pues fue editado por la Universidad de Oxford y vamos a darle. Es importante o me es importante a mí ya que actualmente China es... ya comenzamos a hacerle propaganda a China, ¿no? No, mentiras. China pues es la potencia mundial actual. Bueno, así se le está considerando. Aunque bueno, el propio presidente ha dicho que pues que no hay que exagerar o que todavía no están listos, sino hasta varios años después. Eso lo ha dicho el propio Xi. Pero pues ahí se ve que está muy encaminado. Estados Unidos está sufriendo múltiples crisis en Siria, acá en América Latina, en su propio país, pero pues es algo que siempre ha sucedido. Además, no es como que Estados Unidos esté solo. Pero bueno, vamos a leer esto sobre China. Ok, preface, perdón. Acuérdense que pronuncio mal. In January 2000, Pakistan's President and Army Chief Pervez Musharraf traveled to Beijing. Just a few months earlier, he had toppled Pakistan's civilian government in a coup, earning Washington's ire and a stiff round of U.S. economic sanctions. Okay. During closed-door sessions with Chinese Presidents Jiang Zemin and Premier Xu Rongji, Musharraf pointedly requested Chinese assistance. He had something very specific in mind. He wanted Beijing's help to construct, Gwadar, a new Pakistani deep water port on the Arabian Sea. Musharraf needed the trip to China to show that he had Beijing's full confidence and to cement his domestic political legitimacy after the coup. He projected these aims in his comment to the media. China has stood by Pakistan in difficult times. Our relations have remained strong and steadfast, notwithstanding the cataclysmic change in the political and security environment at the international, regional, and domestic level. But Musharraf also had a broader geopolitical agenda, one he proudly shared but at a small dinner reception in April 2017. Yes, Gwadar was entirely my area, not a Chinese area. I was concerned only about Pakistan's strategic interest, he explained. A Chinese-built port at Gwadar will demonstrate Pakistan's close ties with Beijing and send an obvious signal to India that Pakistan was not to be trifled with. In particular, Musharraf said that he had been concerned India could blockade Pakistan's main port of Karachi. With a function port at Gwadar near the uh, gateway to the Persian Gulf, Pakistan could also threaten India's access to Middle Eastern oil. At the very least, at the very least, suena como list, ¿no? At the very least, a Pakistani base at Gwadar would force India to think twice before launching its own naval operation against Pakistan. For Musharraf, sending a true message to India was essential. Just 6 months earlier, India and Pakistan had come to blows in the Kargil War, a border conflict that Musharraf, then the army chief but not yet president, had advocated and led. A year before that, a two-side had traded nuclear tests. So when Musharraf visited China in 2000, the Indo-Pakistani border was still extremely tense, one of the most likely places in the world to see a nuclear war. What was most surprising about the history of Musharraf's visit to Beijing, as a Chinese diplomat colleague explained in 2013, over lunch platters of steaming fish and spicy fried shrimp was that Chinese top leaders were completely stunned by the Pakistani request to build in Gwadar. To Beijing, Gwadar looked like a big waste of money, a white elephant with little commercial necessity, disconnected from Pakistan's transit and communication network, and surrounded by the improvised fishing beaches, as well as more menacing, menacing, me rindo. Bullish separatist groups waging a decades-long insurgency against the state. The China side was so skeptical at The Chinese side was so skeptical of Musharraf's proposal that more junior diplomats were immediately sent to ask their Pakistani counterpart whether Pakistan's leader was serious. He was, in May 2001, on a 4-day trip to Pakistan to commemorate the 50th anniversary of friendly Sino-Pakistani relations. Premier Xu Rongji announced announced China's intentions to underwrite water construction, and on March 22, 2002, Musharraf hosted Chinese Vice Premier Wu Bangou and 32 member Chinese delegation at Gwadar for festive open-air ceremony to commemorate the groundbreaking of the new port. Standing beside his Chinese guest and speaking into a jumble of microphones, Musharraf described Gwadar as a bold infrastructure scheme intended to end the trends of deprivation among the people of the district and surrounding areas, boost economic activities, and alleviate poverty. No sé. For the next decade, however, Gwadar was plagued by precisely the weakness that Chinese diplomats claimed they had predicted from the start. Opposition leaders in Balochistan perceived Gwadar more as a scheme to steal their real estate than as a means to strengthen the local economy. In May 2004, the Balochistan Liberation Army blows up a bus carrying Chinese engineers to the port, killing 3 and injuring 9. That and other deadly attacks stalled the port's construction schedule. High-volume rail and road connection failed to materialize, and neither did commercial demand for diverting Pakistan's shipping from the well-established port of Karachi. In 2013, once it became clear that there would be practically no shipping traffic to or from Gwadar, the Singaporean management company hired to run the port's facilities just gave up. Yet that was hardly the entire story of Guadar. Despite the poor practical difficult, many regional observers perceive Guadar as a symbol of something much greater. The possibility that China, with its newfound wealth and power, would play an increasingly ambitious role in the Western and Eurasian neighborhood. Pakistani strategists never gave up on Gwadar potentials and never stopped portraying China as all-weather friend. All-weather friend. In Indian foreign and defense policy circles, Gwadar fueled long-standing fears about the threat imposed by a Sino-Pakistani strategic convergence. And in the United States, some military analysts identify Gwadar as part of a Chinese string of pearls, by which they won a series of ports and bases across the Indian Ocean region that would enable China to challenge not merely the Indian Navy, but the American one as well. As Robert Kaplan wrote in his Inflation 2010 book, Monsoon, if there are great place names of the past, Carthage, Thebes, Troy, Samarkand, Angkor, 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 Angkor what? And of the present, Dubai, Singapore, Tehran, Beijing, Washington, Mexico, then Gwadar might qualify as a great place name of the future. Most of all, Gwadar is a telling example of the complex interplay between China and its neighborhood. Gwadar may eventually serve a variety of Chinese goals, but the port was initially the product of Pakistani effort launched for Pakistani reasons. In this important respect, Gwadar is not unique. To the contrary, it reflects an enduring reality. China is the most powerful actor in its neighborhood, but it cannot simply have its way with the smaller state of the region. Beijing's policy will still be interpreted, constrained, and altered in the fundamental ways by its neighbor. Sometimes the interest of the weak or lesser state of the region will determine political outcome more than those of the strong. As a consequence, any attempt to anticipate the emerging shape of Eurasian geopolitics with considering local and sub-regional realities alongside Chinese goals and policies will likely fail. To be sure, we need to better understand what makes Beijing tick and how China's aspirations will play out on the world stage. That efforts need to come hand in hand with careful assessment of the political and economic of Russian state themselves, including their domestic and strategic compulsions. What do their leaders, powerful institutions, and people desire, fear, and expect from China? Mal. What do their leaders, powerful institutions, and people desire, fear, and expect from China? It's a question. How are they most likely to respond to Chinese investment, diplomatic overtures, or military moves? How do their national histories and popular narrative lead them to perceive the world and China's changing place on it? With this sort of question in mind, in this book aims to make sense of the decisive role that China's less powerful neighbors are likely to play as China extends its reach across its western horizons. It then offers guidance about what these developments means for Americans' emerging global geopolitics competition with China. Ok, ahí lo vamos a dejar porque ya hice el ridículo por como 10 minutos. Así que lo voy a subir a ver qué opinan, a ver qué les parece cómo leo. Se me hace muy chistoso. Sinceramente no creo que alcance un buen inglés, muchas palabras van a sonar bastante graciosas. Pero es lo mismo cuando un extranjero habla en español y pues va a ser más o menos lo mismo. He visto videos muy chistosos de gente extranjera hablando español durante horas, leyendo un libro durante horas y muchas palabras mal dichas y es chistoso. Así que supongo que voy a ser chistoso para algunas personas.